Hi, it's Nick. The reason I'm making this video is to explain to you the materials that I use to build my trestle and also the supports for the trestle. For the trestle, I use 3/8 plywood, one side finished. The trestle is 4.5 inches wide, and on each side of the track there's a walkway, and that's 3/4 of an inch. I will be putting siding around the trestle. I'm thinking of using wood, probably a veneer, 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch, so it'll be easy to make the bend and then glue it. But also I have a concern, because when you're building a second level and you're using a legacy control system, the track on the second level could interfere with the track on the lower level as far as the signal that goes through the neutral, and it can cause a conflict where the engines won't work. And what Lionel recommends is that you use a wire so it will neutralize the signal from the neutral side of the track for the lower level and also upper level, and won't interfere, and then your engines will work properly. So what I'm thinking, instead of using a piece of wood for the siding, use metal, and that will act as a piece of wire so that it will neutralize the waves of the legacy signal. I'm hoping that will work instead of using the wire. Now, as far as the supports go, they're made out of pine, and they're 3/4 inch thick, and you can see the piece of pine that I have over on the right side of the finished supports. And on top of the pine I have one, and I just put that on the pine, trace it out, then I cut it out with a jigsaw, and then as far as you can see the finished product, it doesn't have any sharp corners on it. And the way that I remove those corners to give it more of an oval look is I have a palm sander, and I put the palm sander into the vise, and then I would take the wood and I would round all the sharp edges. And then what I did is I had a back saw. I actually cut grooves. I'll move it a little closer, maybe you can see them. Oh, well, right there. And all of those cuts you see is by using a back saw. And then after I cut them all, I used black paint so that they would go into where all the cuts are. And when it dried, I used the red paint, and I used a foam brush because it doesn't have any bristles, and it's easier to brush on, and it won't run into the cuts, so it won't cover the black. And that's how this came out the way it did. So basically that's about enough to explain the materials that I used and how I built them. And what I'm going to do after this video is make another video and show you what I've did on my layout since my last update. I'll end the video now. You fellas take care. Bye now. Hi, it's Nick again. Just making this video to show you what I've done on my layout since my last layout update. I'll start with on the right side. As you see, I put in a pine tree, and where I got that pine tree is I went down to Macy's. They had an area where they sell Christmas ornaments, so I picked up 5 of them. They were on sale. They were 95 cents each. So I thought it would look nice right in that area. Now I'll move over a little bit to the left. I completed one section of the upper level. I have the soundboard, and also I painted it brown. And I made 3 supports. As you can see they're red. One is on a concrete support, and the other 2 I just made a support in the color black. Now underneath, you can't see it from here, but when I run my trains through with the GoPro, you'll see that the underneath is more of like a rock formation, and it's a grayish and little white spots on it. But as I mentioned, you can't see it right now with the camera. I like to bring your attention to the backdrop. That's just trying out and see how I could paint mountains and skies and the blue background. This is all new to me, and I've been watching a couple of videos and how the fellas were doing it. And as you can see on the left, I've made snow on the mountain. And when I did that, it reminded me of another mountain in the distance. But maybe if I made a couple of trees somewhere else, I might get another distant mountain. And, you know, it's just learning how to do it. And the clouds, of course, it's white paint, but I sort of blended in with the blue paint. Doesn't look too bad for the first time, I guess. And then in front of it, there's a rock. And I got that from the backyard and I cleaned it. I thought maybe it might look nice. I'll see if I really like it that way. You know, everything else is subject to change, as everyone knows. But anyway, that's that section there, and I'm still thinking on whether I'm going to put houses there, you know, flat houses, or maybe I'll put a train station, and, you know, I just have different ideas of what to do in that section. I'll move over to another area. Now you'll see tracks going from that section to the section where the houses are. Now that's just a track, and I just did this to get the layout of the second level with the tracks. And now I'll move to the second portion of the upper level, and which is over the houses. I have to put the soundboard, and I have to also paint it. I will use the brown paint. And again, I'm not sure what I'm going to put in that area. It might be more houses, maybe a mountain. I'm just not sure. So we'll see what happens in that area. Then we'll move to the left, and there's another section of track which goes on to the tunnel. Now on the tunnel, I have a switch. It's 072. And the curved part of the switch, that's going to hook up to the other section of the track that will be on the trestle, and it's going to come all the way across to that section of track and hook up to it. Then the second level, as far as the track goes, will be completed. Now as you can see over on the tunnel again, I had made a siding, and I have a red bumper, and that bumper is from the 70s, but I adapted it to the fast track section where a fast track bumper would be on. But unfortunately I had two of them, and clumsy me, I tried to change the bulbs and a couple other things, and I just made a mess of it. But anyway, I adapted that particular bumper to that track. Now I also made the portal parts, and I made it out of material which I got from Home Depot, and they call it the formula. It's an insulation, and it's 3/4 thick, but it was really a nice material to work with. And I'll just show a piece of it in front of the camera. See if I can get it there. There's the thickness, and it really is nice to cut it with a utility knife. You can do a hacksaw, but I noticed with the utility knife you get a much nicer cut, as you can see here, compared to the hacksaw. But anyway, it's a nice material if you ever think of building portals or any other item that you might want to make. Now, towards the left, in front of the water tower, I'll just bring the camera in a little closer. I made a bench, picnic bench, and I have two figures in it, and I have a tree on one side and another tree on the other side. They're having a picnic. I thought that was kind of neat. One other thing I'd like to mention to you, the section that you see here, the grass, in my other update, I used about 3 or 4 different shades of green, which were crayon, and I blended it in, and it really looked nice. But then when I started using the woodland scenic, and I was using the fine turf and the blend turf on my other sections, it looked so nice, just like the way it looked. So I decided to go over the crayon with this, as you can see here. And I went on a couple of sites and I noticed that they had not only the grass, but they had little bushes and trees and different colors. This is what I made here. Now you can see the tree right there. Now the wood portion of the tree is actually twigs from a plant that I have outside, and I just cut it down to size. I cleaned it up, and then I used the clump foliage to make branches and the leaves, and I trimmed it a little bit with a scissor. And all of my trees, I made them the same way. And I'll just swing it around so you can see where you'll have bushes, and I have one tree right there, and I have another tree right in that area. And they're all different size and types and whatnot, like it would be in the real world. And I also put on my layout these draw-off lights. I have 4 of them, and the way they operate, I have a toggle switch for each one, and each one has a coil, a relay coil. And when I put the switch in one position, the green light will be on, and when I put it in another position, the red light would be on. So when I'm making my videos, if you see that I will be controlling it, because I don't have any track device on to operate those controls. Oh yeah, right over in this area, and again I'll just bring it in a little bit, there's a truck with a person sitting on it, and that's what I use to mount my GoPro in front of the engine. And all it is just a truck, and I had a piece of plywood which I made it the size that I wanted so the camera could fit on it, and then the bracket, that black bracket that's on the wood, that came with the GoPro, and it has, when you take the bottom off, it has a sticky substance, and I just stuck it on, and really works nice. I made a couple of videos with the camera using that truck. As you can see right here, I have made 2 other sidings off of the turntable, and you'll notice it's on a piece of wood. And of course that wood I'll be painting it, put some grass on it so it won't be the way it looks now, it'll blend into it. But the reason I did the wood is because I have an access panel there. And if I have to get at the turntable or some other area in that area, I can come up through it. If I have to reach more over to the left side, which would be towards the tunnel, I can unscrew it and lift it up, and then I can move closer. So that's why I have it on the wood the way you see it. Again, I have a red bumper from the 60s, and I made that the same way I made the one over the tunnel. Basically, that's all I did since my last layout update, and I think that's about it, fellas. So you have a great day. Take care now.